Hey, one of the great things about the video game Carmageddon is some of the really cool stunts that take place throughout the game. Now sometimes these stunts are due to something the player does, and sometimes, but not always, sometimes these stunts are due to something the AI does in the game or the game itself. So in this video, I'd like to discuss and explore one of the stunts in the video game, and I want to dissect it bit by bit to show exactly why it's so clever and exactly how the game devised the stunt and planned it out in the first place. Now, as you can see, this example takes place on the fairground level, and here we see the blue porker, number 70. He's wandering around, then all of a sudden, boom, he heads off in my direction, slams into me, and then I end up on by the side of him. Along comes a yellow bimmer, he hits me, boom! Along comes a pickup, he hits Porker, who's wasted already, and he slams him right into me like that. I catch on fire because I'm slammed into the corner post of this shed here. So let's explore how this worked, because this stunt was actually a lot more clever than it appears to be at first glance. So the first phase of the stunt, let's break this down bit by bit into the separate phases and really analyze exactly how this occurred. Now, in the first phase of the stunt, Porker gets wasted. So let's see that. Now, the first thing to notice is that Porker gets set down right here. This is where the clip really begins. And you can see he wanders around for a second. Then he suddenly starts making a beeline in my direction. Why? Because I had just come through the fence there. So he's set down. I just was starting to come through the fence right there. He wanders around until I do so, and then he heads off straight into my direction, and of course I smash into him and waste him right there. Now, when I was watching this clip over again the first time, I was a little confused, because I thought I had ended up behind Porker so that he was later got smashed into me. But here you can see that I'm actually at his side, or even a little bit in front of him. So I was kind of confused. How did he smash into me if I actually ended up at his side rather than behind him? So for the answer to that, let's look at the next phase. And the next phase of the stunt is the phase where Bimmer is slammed into my car. So now let's look at that. But before we get into that, did you notice that strange little couple of hops that Porker gives before he gets hit? We'll get back to that in a moment. Okay, so I see how I ended up behind Porker, but the next question is, how did Porker get slammed into me again? So that's phase 3. Let's take a look at that now. So for the third phase, boom, Porker gets slammed into me by the pickup, and then I get slammed into that corner post, and I catch on fire. See that? Boom. So that's how he gets slammed into me. He gets slammed into me by the pickup. So now that we've analyzed it, let's see the whole sequence over again. So here we see Porker appears on the scene. He knows I'm coming. He starts making a beeline for me, slams into me like that. He gets wasted. I end up on the side. He starts giving these strange little hops here. Boom! I get pushed behind him by Bimmer, and bam! I get slammed into the post by the pickup. So, as you can see, what looked like a simple stunt was actually a very clever sequence in which the AI predicted what the player was about to do, sent the NPC in his direction in order to be wasted at the right moment, and then executed a stunt that was actually a sequence of 3 separate stages that all occurred in precisely the right order in order to bring about a certain effect. Now I know what the AI skeptics are going to say about this, what the naysayers are going to say. They're going to say, that was not AI at all. That was just a random thing that happened. It was totally coincidental, totally random. It was just the random workings of the physics engine, and blah blah blah. There was no AI involved. There was no intentionality. Well, I'll tell you how I know that this stunt was intentional, that it was actually planned out deliberately by the artificial intelligence in the game. And the way I know that is, you remember that little couple of hops that the porker gave just before he was hit by the pickup? Right here. He gives a couple of hops like a kangaroo. Remember, he's wasted here, and yet he's still hopping up and down like this for some reason. Well, the reason he's doing this is that I've noticed that the AI cars, the NPC cars, will often do that when they either think or know that they're about to be hit or they're about to impact the player's car in some way. See, here's the Lambo on another level doing the same thing. As I drive by, he gives a hop because he thinks he might be hit. And here's the Bugga. He's doing the very same thing. He gives 3 hops as I drive past because he thinks there's a possibility that I'm going to hit him. So as you can see, the porker, what the porker is doing falls right along the same lines as the other 2 cars. It's giving a hop because it knows that it's going to be hit by another car in a moment because it was planned out. The whole stunt was planned out by the AI. So let's watch this whole clip over again now that we've analyzed it a bit and we can understand it a little bit better. So we see here comes Porker right as I'm coming through the fence. He slams into me. He gets wasted. I end up along his side. He gives those telltale hops right there so we know what's coming. I get hit by Bimmer, and then Porker gets hit by the pickup who gets slammed into me. So now the question becomes, when exactly was this stunt planned out by the artificial intelligence in the game? Well, that's hard to say for sure, but I think it was right at the beginning of the sequence, right here, where Porker first arrives on the scene, and if you look to your right, you can see the pickup and Bimmer hitting each other and arriving exactly the right place. So let's see it from the pickup's point of view. Here he comes out of the shed, he hits the Bimmer, and they crash through the fence. Right there, that's exactly the point where Porker also arrives on the scene. So here comes, let's see this again, here comes pickup. He goes through, Porker arrives on the scene, pickup slams into Bimmer, they go through the fence, they pause for a moment right here until exactly the right moment, and then they come out and they carry out the sequence in exactly the right order that we saw before. So let's look at that one more time and see just how amazing and how clever this is. Now that is really something else. Now one thing I always like to ask whenever I see something like this is exactly what traits of human intelligence did the AI display in this clip? Well, I think it showed intuition. It knew what the player was going to do, going to go crash through the fence. It had the ability to plan it out in advance, so it had foresight. It had the creativity to devise a new stunt, and it had the ingenuity of creating something that was truly clever. So that's it. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you will like, comment, and subscribe to this because I'm going to be exploring some other examples of artificial intelligence in this game that are just going to blow you away. Thanks for watching.